Hello champions and future champions. Hello ChessMood family. GM Gabuzyan is here with you, and we're beginning our special daily lesson today. Why am I calling it special? Because it might be much longer than our regular daily lessons. And what we're going to cover today is gonna be typical bishop h7 tactics. It's also famous as a Greek gift sacrifice, and it's one of the most popular sacrifices in the chess game. We consider this topic to be very important and very common during the chess games, so that's why we are dedicating so much time to it. Now, the position that you are seeing on the board is a white t-move. You can pause the video and calculate bishop h7 move, whether it's working for white or it's not. This is a perfect spot when this tactic is working. So we're taking on h7 with an idea after king takes to go knight g5 check. And the issue this time for black is the following, that after king g8 we play queen h5. This is the main idea of bishop h7. We are using the fact that there is no defender near to the king and creating this mating setup. Now queen h7 is unstoppable, so white is winning. After knight g5 check, black can try few other replies. Of course, king h8 is being mated instantly because queen h5 is a check, so we're going to see what happens after king h6 and king g6 move. If king goes to h6, now the queen on c7 is hanging with knight e6 check. Bishop on c1 is checking and we're winning the queen. After knight g5 check, if black goes king to g6, white again has a winning continuation. You can pause the video and think how to win here for white. Now we're playing queen to d3 check. If black now goes king h6, we're not even taking the queen with knight e6 check, but playing queen h7 checkmate. After queen d3 check, if black goes king to h5, queen h7 is mating. After king g4, queen h3 is the last move. And after queen d3 check, if black plays f5, now this pawn on f5 is covering the king, so we need to get rid of it. We play e takes f6 with a check, and after king takes, rook e6 is a checkmate. In this example, we have seen a perfect situation when bishop h7 tactic is working. So today we're gonna see much more examples when we're going to win with this tactic, and as well we will see exceptions when this tactic is not working out. Let's go ahead and see the next position. In this one we're going to learn how to create bishop h7 tactic and as well some further calculations. Now you can pause the video and think how to continue here as white. In order to make it, we need to get rid of this knight on f6. As well, we need to open up our bishop. That's the reason we play e5, a multitasking move. Here black has few reactions. Let's take a look at knight ft5. Now we can take on h7, king h7, knight g5 check. If black goes king to h6, we're again winning the queen with knight e6 or knight f7 checks. After knight g5, if black goes king to g6, you can here pause the video and think how to continue. In the previous example, we were mating after king g6 move. Now we're gonna get a winning position. Queen c2 check we're playing. King h6 or king h5 are not the options. We're mating through h7. So after queen c2, black has to play f5. We play e takes f6, king takes, and now after knight c4 check, we are winning the bishop on c5 back, staying with an extra pawn, and destroyed position for opponent's king. That's the reason this is winning. So after knight g5 check, black goes king to g8, queen h5, and rook e8. And this is another spot when you can think how to play here as white. I will tell you in advance that there is a continuation which leads to a mate. If now you try to play Queen h7 check, King f8, Queen h8, King e7, and capture on g7, this is also winning. Evaluation here is very big. After Rook f8, White can play Knight to e4, and this position is lost for Black. But the thing is that after Rook e8, we can firstly get rid of this pawn on f7, and only then go for the same line. You will see the difference now. Queen f7 check, King h8, and Queen h5 check. When we have this setup against the king, so king is on g8, knight g5 and queen h5, we can be taking this pawn with a tempo, going back, and we have absolutely the same position, but without f7 pawn. Difference this time is going to be very, very big. After Queen h7, King f8 and Queen h8, King e7, this time there is no longer pawn on f7 square, and Queen g7 is simply mating opponent's king. That is the reason we take on f7 and then go for this line. So, we have seen how White is winning with bishop h7 tactic another time. Let me mention as well that at the beginning, after e5, if Black goes knight to d7, it's the same. We still can be capturing on h7, and there is no difference. As well, after e5, if Black goes knight to g4, we take on h7, and after king takes back, now we're winning the knight on g4 with knight g5 check, king g8, and queen g4. We're staying with an extra pawn and super dangerous attack after queen h3 or queen h4 moves. So, we see that bishop h7 is a very dangerous tactic for our opponent. And as well, people are very often missing this. Let's go ahead to see another example when it's working. As you are guessing, it's White to move again. You can pause the video and try to calculate our tactical option. I didn't mention on a purpose that this time there is a bishop on e7, which is covering this g5 square. What do you think? The tactic still works? Yes, it does. And the reason is we have pawn on h4, which is allowing our rook to join the game. Here how it's happening. Bishop h7 check, king h7, knight g5 check. And if here Black takes, we take back with a check. Now, if Black goes king to g8, this is not saving. Queen h5 is a mate threat to h8 square. And something like f5, in order after queen h8 to run away with f7, is also not an option. Now we play g6, and still queen h8 is mating. For this reason, after h takes g5 check, Black can try to go king to g6. One more time, I will offer you to pause the video and think how to mate here as White. The important move is queen h5 check. It's taking Black king to more central squares, to f5. Now there are a few options. White can be mating with queen h7 check, g6, queen h3 check. And after king e4, queen d3 is mating. When king was on f5, there were a few other mating options as well. We have seen that because of the reason that h file is being opened, Black cannot be taking after knight g5 check. Let's see other continuations. For example, if now Black goes back king to g8, we play queen h5. Same mating threat on h7 is occurring. And what is the issue? That after bishop g5 and pawn takes, it's a clear transposition to the situation which we saw previously. So this is not an option as well. And if after knight g5 check, now Black tries to go king to g6, White wins with h5 check. King f5 is being mated with g4, and as well, if Black after h5 check goes king to h6, we are winning with knight e6 move, taking the queen. So in all the scenarios, after bishop h7 check, white is winning. One more time, let's pay attention. That is very important now to have pawn on h4, as there is bishop on e7, which is preventing this knight g5 check. But luckily this time this doesn't make sense, we're opening the h-file and winning. Let's go ahead to see the next position. Now we have a very similar to the previous one situation, but with one complicated detail. There is now also a pawn on f6 square, which is limiting our knight g5 option. I offer you to pause the video and think how to continue here as white. Since we're also having important detail included, the pawn on h4, our tactic is working out. We play bishop h7 check, king takes, and knight g5 check. And here black has few reactions. First of all, let's see what happens if black is deciding to take this knight. F g5 and queen h5 check, king g8 and pawn takes g5. Right now we are threatening to play g6 and mate 3h8 square. Black has to play knight f8 in order to prevent this. But here white has a winning continuation again. You can pause the video and try to find it. Here we go with g6, creating queen h8 checkmate threat. Black has to take and queen g6. Now, white is threatening to play rook h7, bishop f8 and queen h5. And suddenly rook h8 checkmate is unavoidable. But what is the beautiful thing? That after queen takes g6, black has absolutely no options to prevent this threat. No moves are working. This rook h7 and queen h5 is winning either way. For this reason, after knight g5 check, black cannot be taking this. And let's see what happens if black goes king to g8. We play queen h5. Of course, if now black takes, we take with the h-pawn and it's a clear transposition. So after queen h5, black goes knight f8, preventing queen h7 check. Once again, I offer you to pause the video and find how white is winning in this position. We play queen f7 check, which forces black to go king h8. And this king now is isolated from black pieces. Even though they are staying nearby, none of them is really protecting it. White plays h5. We are trying to open up the h-file and checkmate this guy. What is the funny thing? Black cannot prevent it. If black tries to take the knight, we go h6. Now if black takes, rook h8 is mating. After h6, if black goes g6, queen g7 is mating. Another option here, to play something like bishop f6, but h takes g7 is mating. So just no options to escape from a checkmate. And with this beautiful attack, white is winning. Which means another time we have seen a successful implementation of bishop h7 idea. Let's go ahead to see the next one. This time we're not seeing any pawns on h7 square. Interesting. I offer you to pause the video and think about this position, how to continue here as white. In order to play bishop h7 check, we don't need a pawn there. White goes bishop h7. Idea of this move is to bring king to the required square and use the important tempo. If black now goes king to h8, we're mating with queen h5, since bishop g6 threat is unstoppable. So after bishop h7, black has to take. We play queen h5 check, king g8, and h takes g5. Now we're threatening to checkmate through h8 square. The only way to prevent it is to play f5. Now if we play queen h7 check, black goes king f7. And if g6, then king e8, so king is escaping. But after f5, we can learn another very important trick. We play g6. This pawn is forcing king to stay here, since we're taking the f7 square under control. Now bishop h4 check is just postponing a checkmate for a few moves. We take queen h4 and queen takes h4. In this position, black gave up since it was played in a real game. So on top of learning this, we can know that this bishop h7 sacrificing idea is happening very often in practical games. Let's now go ahead to see our next position. Here it's white to move. I will offer you to pause the video and think how to play here. Okay, seems like it's a good spot to play bishop h7 check. King h7, knight g5 check, king g8, and queen h5. And we're again threatening to checkmate on h7. Seems to be fine, isn't it? Not at all. This time, black plays knight f6, preventing our checkmate idea with the tempo attacking our queen, so black now is winning. And from this example, we're going to see some situations when this bishop h7 idea is not working. We have seen different ways when it perfectly works out and we're mating. Also, we need to know some specific situations when we cannot be making this. One of the positions is when knight has access to f6 square. It's instantly attacking the queen and as well protecting the h7. If we're not having any further ideas to improve our position, we're just staying without a piece. Let's go ahead to see the next example. Another spot very much similar to bishop h7 working sacrifice. And as well, f6 square is now under our control. So I offer you to pause the video and think, can we make it this time? Bishop h7, king h7, knight g5 check. King g8, queen h5. Seems to be working out. If not knight f8 move, f6 square was allowing black to attack the queen and protect h7. But okay, black is also satisfied just to protect the h7 square, which is also enough. Now black is staying with an extra piece. The good news is that queen on c7 is protecting f7 pawn. So as well, we're not having any queen f7 ideas. For this reason, in this case as well, white is just losing a piece. So it's not working out. Let's go ahead to see the next one. Alright, I offer you another position for thoughts. Here again, picking up the white side and trying to checkmate. Is it working, guys? Let's try bishop h7, king h7, knight g5 check. King g8, queen h5. Seems like black is not having any options to play knight to f6 or knight to f8. But instead, black has another defense. Now knight g6 is the great move. What's the thing that after queen h7 check and king f8, knight on g6 is suddenly protecting h8 square. So our attack is finished. No checkmating options, and another time white is missing a piece. When making bishop h7 tactical idea, we need to consider different defensive options of our opponent. Let's go ahead now to see the next one. Okay, another time we're seeing this knight on e7, so I'm going to ask you whether bishop h7 is working in this case or it's not. After bishop h7, king h7 and knight d5 check, black goes king to g8. And after queen h5, the good news is rook is on f8. So after knight g6, we are mating with queen h7. Seems perfect, isn't it? Not at all, guys, I little tricked you. The difference is that now, after queen h5, we can discover light squared bishop for black, which goes to f5 square and instantly is killing our attack. h7 square is very safely protected. Bishop is gonna go to g6, attack the queen, and once again we just missed a piece. So defending through this long diagonal is another option. Have it in your mind when sacrificing your bishop. Let's go ahead to see the next one. Okay, this time it's white to move, and I will tell you in advance that bishop h7 is not working. But your goal is to find the defense. I'm going to put this move on and offer you to pause the video trying to defend as black side. Black has to take, since if we go king h8, we have seen several times it's not a good option. We're losing important pawn and being mated soon. That's why after bishop h7, we take knight g5 check, king g8 and queen h5. We are not having any knight to go to f6, not a bishop to control this diagonal, but we have a queen. You may ask me, how is this queen going to join the defense? If you haven't seen it yet, once again try to pause the video and find the defense. Black is using our king's position in the center, playing queen a5 check, bishop d2 and now queen f5. With the tempo, from d8, queen is quickly jumping to the required spot. It doesn't matter if on this diagonal it's staying a bishop or a queen. Still, protecting h7 spot is enough to defend and stay with an extra piece. I really like this defensive idea a lot. Let's go ahead to see last example in this topic. Another time, we have an option to sacrifice our bishop on h7 spot. Question to you is whether it works or not. Please pause the video and think about it. Let's go on. Bishop h7 check, king h7, queen h5 check, king g8 and knight g5 check. What do you think, guys? Is there any way to defend for black or not? If black now tries to go rook to e8, white has a winning continuation. It's not so simple to see. Now I will ask you to pause it for white and try to find the win. We play here queen f7 check, king h8, queen h5 check. It was very important to destroy this pawn. Why? You will see in a few moves. King g8, queen h7 check, taking king to the f file, and after king f8, we are going to bring our rook in the game. White now plays bishop to e3, and rook f1 threat is decisive. In order to escape, black has to bring the queen through the f-file, give it away, and of course get a losing position. For this reason, after knight g5, rook 8 is not saving the game. But since now black is up a lot of material, black has an extra rook. They can afford a loss of a knight. Black now goes knight f3 check, a great move, which is slowing down white's attack. Now white has to take back with the knight or with the queen. In both scenarios, black is bringing queen into defense. Let's say if queen takes f3, now queen f6. If we go queen h5, queen g6, and queen is having a great defensive spot. So white's attack is over, and now white is staying without an exchange. So when you are sacrificing your piece, you can have in your mind, if your opponent has enough material to give something back and still be up, you should be worried about this defensive resource. But what is the good news about this position? That if white is not playing bishop h7 check, there is a winning continuation here. Let's pause the video and try to find it. Since black's king side is weakened, we play queen h5. Now h7, pawn is under attack, and queen h7 is a checkmate threat. And if here black goes f5, in order to prevent it, white is winning with bishop d5 check, king h8, and knight g5. Queen h7 is the checkmate threat again, and if here black goes h6, white has the last winning move. This is the last time for this video when I offer you to pause it and find the winning continuation. White now goes queen to g6. The threat is queen h7 checkmate. If black takes on g5 with the pawn, we play queen h5 check, bishop h6, and queen h6 checkmate. So that's why white is winning. After queen g6, black has to give away the queen, but of course after bishop g5, it's a decisive advantage. This attack was working out in this way, without bishop h7 sacrifice. It's also nice to have in your mind that it looks very attractive to sacrifice the bishop and with checks put the pressure on opponent's king. But we need to be careful. Let's now go back to the first position to summarize what we have learned today. This is where it began, the first position, when we saw bishop h7 nice move. We have learned that very often this idea is working, but we need to have some specific conditions. No pieces near opponent king, which can be protecting some important squares. This diagonal is very decisive, and we need to make sure none of black bishops or the queen can be staying here. As well, some options for opponent king to escape. If none of this is existing on the board, it means we have a good try to win a beautiful game. I hope you liked this long but at the same time interesting lesson, guys. I am gonna be honest with you and tell that on my own I also learned some interesting tricks while working with the material. Let's now go ahead when you will get a test position for this topic. Here it's white to move. You can share your thoughts and ideas, whether bishop h7 works or not, in the comments section below. GM Gabuzyan was here with you. Thank you for subscriptions, likes, and sharing this video with your friends. We appreciate it a lot. See you next time during our next daily lessons.